Captain Deho stood in front of the big window on his ship. He looked out at the stars and thought about the strange message they got today. His ship, the Harmony's Edge, was floating near Jupiter. They were doing research on the gas giants, moons when everything changed. The message came from space, not from Earth or any human colony. It came from aliens. Real aliens who had been watching humans for a long time but never talked to them before. "Captain," said Dr. So-Young as she walked into the room. She was the ship's expert on alien life, even though she had never seen a real alien before today. "I have read the message 10 times. I still can't believe it's real." Deho turned to look at her. So-Young was a smart woman who always asked good questions. If she was worried, then he should be worried too. "Tell me what you think," he said. So-Young held up her tablet. The message was written in perfect Korean, English, and 12 other human languages. This scared her the most. How did aliens know so much about humans? "They call themselves the Galactic Council," she said. "They say they have 847 different alien races working together. They control most of this part of the galaxy, and now they want humans to join them." "That sounds good," said Tae-min as he walked in. He was the ship's engineer and always looked for the bright side of things. "Think about all the new technology we could learn. Space travel that's faster than light, energy weapons, maybe even ways to live forever." Deho shook his head. "Read the message again, Tae-min. They don't want us as equals. They want us as junior members. We get to join, but we don't get to vote on important things." So-Young nodded. "And look at this part. They say humans have to prove we are worthy. We have 1 year to show them something special. If we fail, they will block us from leaving our solar system forever." The 3 humans stood quiet for a moment. This was big news, bigger than anything that had ever happened to their species. "There's more," said a young voice from the doorway. Beowulf walked in. She was new to the crew and worked as a diplomat. Her job was to help humans talk to each other when they disagreed. Now she might have to help humans talk to aliens. "I have been listening to their radio signals," Beowulf said. "The aliens are not being honest with us. I heard them talking to each other. They are making bets about whether humans will fail the test." Tae-min's smile disappeared. "Bets?" "Yes. Some alien races think humans are too weak and stupid to pass any test. Others think we might surprise them. But none of them really want us in their club." So-Young sat down hard in a chair. "Why invite us then?" Beowulf looked at her tablet. "I think I know. The aliens have rules about new species. If they find a race that can travel between stars, they have to offer them a chance to join. But they can make the test so hard that no one passes." Deho felt angry. He had spent his whole life dreaming about meeting aliens. He thought it would be wonderful. He thought aliens would be wise and kind and want to be friends with humans. Instead, they seemed mean and unfair. "What kind of test do they want us to pass?" he asked. "The message doesn't say," So-Young answered. "We have to go to their capital, World, to find out. It's called Nexus Prime. It will take us 6 months to get there." 6 months there, time for the test, then 6 months back," Tae-min said. "That's most of our year right there." Beowulf looked worried. "Captain, I heard something else in their radio signals. After we fail the test, they plan to take over our solar system. They want to steal all the plants and animals from Earth. They want to put humans in special places where they can control us." The room became very quiet. Outside the window, Jupiter's great red spot swirled like a giant eye watching them. Deho made a decision. "We're going to Nexus Prime." "Captain?" So-Young asked. "We're going, but not to beg them to let us join their club. We're going to show them what humans are really like." Tae-min looked confused. "What do you mean?" Deho walked to his desk and pressed a button. The ship's communication system turned on. Now he could talk to every human ship and colony in space. "This is Captain Deho of the Harmony's Edge. By now you have all heard about the message from the Galactic Council. They want us to prove we are worthy of joining them. But I have a different idea. Instead of proving we are worthy of them, let's show them that they should be worthy of us." He looked at his crew. "Humans are different from these aliens. We don't measure worth by how much power someone has or how many planets they control. We measure worth by how much someone cares about others." Beowulf smiled. "What do you want us to do?" Contact every human ship, every colony, every research station. Tell them to send us their most important treasures. Not gold or diamonds or weapons. Send us their stories, their music, their art, their memories of people they loved who are gone now. So Young stood up. You want to show the aliens our culture? More than that. I want to show them what it means to be human. These aliens sound like bullies who only care about being strong. Let's show them there are other ways to be. Great. The next few weeks were busy. Messages came from all over human space. Ships arrived with boxes full of books, paintings, and music recordings. Families sent pictures of their grandparents. Children sent drawings they made in school. Scientists sent stories about discoveries that made them happy. One package made Daeho cry. It came from a small colony near Alpha Centauri. Inside was a teddy bear that belonged to a little girl who died in an accident. Her parents wanted the aliens to know that humans remembered their children forever. Are you sure about this plan? So Young asked one day. They were loading the last cargo containers full of human memories. No, Daeho admitted. But I'm sure about one thing. If we're going to fail this test, let's fail in a way that shows who we really are. As the Harmony's Edge began its journey to Nexus Prime, Daeho looked back at Earth one last time. It was just a small blue dot now, but it was home. No matter what happened with the aliens, he would make sure they knew that humans were worth knowing. The stars ahead seemed cold and empty, but Daeho felt warm inside. He was carrying the best parts of humanity with him. Soon, the aliens would see what humans were really made of. The Harmony's Edge came out of faster-than-light travel near Nexus Prime. Captain Daeho had seen many beautiful things in space, but nothing like this. The alien world was huge, bigger than Jupiter, but solid like Earth. Cities covered the entire planet and glowed with strange colors. Look at all those ships, whispered Taman from his station. Thousands of alien spacecraft moved around the planet like busy insects. Each ship looked different. Some were long and thin like needles. Others were round like bubbles. A few looked like they were made of living crystal. Ambassador Kyung-soo joined them on the bridge. He was the best diplomat Earth could send. For 6 months, he had studied everything humans knew about alien behavior. But looking at Nexus Prime, he felt very small. They're sending us landing instructions, said Baewol. We're supposed to go to something called the Grand Assembly. It's a building at the North Pole of the planet. Dr. So Young looked at her scanners. I'm reading life signs from hundreds of different species down there. Some breathe oxygen like us. Others breathe methane or sulfur gas. Some don't seem to breathe anything at all. The Grand Assembly was the biggest building any human had ever seen. It was made of clear crystal that changed colors as they watched. The building was so tall it reached into space. Its base was so wide that Earth's largest city could fit inside it 10 times. Permission to land, human vessel, came a voice in perfect Korean. The voice sounded like it came from a machine, not a living thing. This is Ambassador Kyung-soo of Earth, he replied. We are here for the test. Follow the guide lights to Landing Bay 1847. You will be met by council representatives. As their ship landed, Daeho looked at the other spacecraft in the bay. Each one was more advanced than anything humans had built. Some seemed to bend light around them. Others floated without any visible engines. Remember, Kyung-soo told his team, we are here to represent all of humanity. Stay calm, be polite, but don't let them make us feel ashamed of who we are. The airlock opened and strange air flowed in. It smelled like flowers and metal, and something else they couldn't identify. Gravity here was lighter than Earth, so they felt like they might float away with each step. 3 aliens waited for them outside the ship. The first one was tall and thin with blue skin and 4 arms. The second looked like a walking tree with golden leaves. The third was the strangest. It seemed to be made of flowing water that somehow held its shape. Welcome, humans, said the blue one. Its voice was the same machine voice they heard on the radio. I am Coordinator Zix-9 of the Christek Collective. These are Representative Bloom of Distant Suns from the Verdant Alliance and Flow State Tertiary from the Liquid Consortium. Kyung-soo bowed politely. Thank you for inviting us to your world. The tree alien made a sound like wind through leaves. Invitation suggests choice. You are here because our laws require it. The water alien rippled in what might have been laughter. Do not expect courtesy, mammals. You are here to be judged. Dr. So Young felt her anger rise, but Dae-ho put a hand on her shoulder. They needed to stay calm. The aliens led them through corridors that seemed to go on forever. Other alien beings walked past them. Some stopped to stare at the humans. A few made sounds that were clearly not friendly. "Your species is smaller than expected," said Coordinator Zix-9. "And you appear fragile. How did you manage to achieve space travel?" "Hard work and cooperation," answered Kyung-soo. "Cooperation?" The water alien seemed confused. "You mean slavery? Which of your subspecies commands the others?" "None of us command the others," said Bae-wool. "We work together because we choose to." The alien stopped walking and stared at her. Then Coordinator Zix-9 made a noise that sounded like broken glass. "Fascinating. Your species functions without a dominance hierarchy. How inefficient." They entered the Grand Assembly Hall. It was so big that weather patterns moved across the ceiling. Thousands of alien beings sat in sections arranged like a giant stadium. Each section held a different species. The noise they made sounded like a storm of voices, clicks, whistles, and sounds that hurt human ears. At the center of the hall was a raised platform. This is where each species would give their presentation. "You will observe today as other species demonstrate their achievements," said Representative Bloom of Distant Suns. "Tomorrow, you will have your turn." A massive insect-like being walked onto the platform. It had 6 legs, 4 arms, and a head covered in eyes. When it spoke, its voice boomed through the hall. "I am War Leader Thraenox of the Zephyrian Empire. Behold our greatest achievement." Lights dimmed and a hologram appeared above the platform. It showed Zephyrian warriors attacking a planet. Their weapons were terrible. They could cut through mountains and turn oceans into steam. The planet's defenders tried to fight back, but they had no chance. "In one day we conquered the melodic ones," Thraenox announced. "A species that had resisted us for centuries. Their homeworld now serves our empire, and their people work in our mines." The crowd cheered. The sound was like thunder mixed with screaming. Next came the Vorthak Empire. Their representative was a creature that looked like a living shadow with red eyes. It showed how they had built machines that could eat entire stars and turn them into energy for their civilization. "We have consumed 47 star systems," it said proudly. "Soon we will have enough power to reshape this galaxy according to our will." More cheering from the crowd. Species after species came forward. Each one showed how they had destroyed, conquered, or consumed something. The Ethereal Syndicate had built machines that could erase memories from entire populations. The Bone Collectors had turned dead planets into weapons. The Hive Minds had absorbed other species into their collective consciousness. Kyung-soo felt sick watching these presentations. Is this what the galaxy thought was impressive? Destroying other civilizations and stealing their resources? Dr. So Young leaned over and whispered, "Now I understand why they think humans are weak. We've never done anything like this." "Good," whispered back Dae-ho. "I wouldn't want to be like them." Finally, the presentations ended for the day. The aliens who had brought them here showed them to sleeping quarters. The rooms were comfortable, but clearly designed to remind them they were guests who were not really welcome. That night, the human team sat together in Kyung-soo's room. "What are we going to show them tomorrow?" asked Tae-min. "We don't have any great conquests. We've never destroyed other civilizations. We've barely left our own solar system." Kyung-soo looked at the boxes of human treasures they had brought. From Earth, books, music, art, photographs, and personal memories from millions of people. "We're going to show them what we brought," he said. "Our stories, our culture, our memories." "They'll laugh at us," said Bae-wool. "After seeing all those demonstrations of power, they'll think we're pathetic." Dr. So Young picked up one of the books. It was a collection of poems written by children who had survived a terrible earthquake. "Maybe they will laugh, but at least they'll know who we really are." Dae-ho stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the crystal city of Nexus Prime glowed in the darkness. Somewhere out there, representatives from 847 species were probably discussing how weak and useless humans were. "Tomorrow, we show them that strength isn't just about destroying things," he said. "We show them that humans are strong in ways they've never imagined." As the humans tried to sleep in their alien beds, none of them felt very confident about the next day. But they all knew one thing: whatever happened, they would face it together. That was the human way. The morning came too quickly for the human delegation. Ambassador Kyung-soo stood at the mirror in his quarters, adjusting his formal diplomatic clothes one last time. Today, humanity would stand before 847 alien species and show them what made humans special. Dr. Hae-jin had joined them from Earth specifically for this presentation. She was a cultural historian who spent her life studying human art, music, and stories. If anyone could explain human culture to aliens, it was her. "Are you ready?" Captain Dae-ho asked as they prepared to leave their quarters. "No," Hae-jin admitted, "but I don't think anyone could be ready for this." They walked through the crystal corridors of the Grand Assembly Building. Other aliens moved past them, but today the stares felt different. Some seemed curious. Others looked like they were already bored. A few appeared hungry, as if they were thinking about taking over human space. The Grand Assembly Hall was even more crowded than yesterday. Word had spread that the primitive mammals would make their presentation today. Many aliens had come just to watch humans fail. War leader Threnox sat in the front section with the other powerful species. His insect face showed no expression, but his body language suggested he was looking forward to this entertainment. "Species designation, human," announced Coordinator Zix-9. "You may begin your demonstration." Kyung-soo walked to the center platform with Hye-jin. The massive hall became quiet. Thousands of alien eyes, sensors, and other organs turned toward them. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," Kyung-soo began, "we are here to show you humanity's greatest achievement." Hye-jin activated the hologram projector they had brought from Earth. Instead of weapons or conquest, the image showed a simple building made of stone and wood. "This is a library," Hye-jin said. "Humans build them in every city and town. Inside, we keep books." Murmurs spread through the alien audience. Some sounded confused, others sounded disappointed. The hologram changed to show the inside of the library. Shelves stretched from floor to ceiling, filled with millions of books. "These books contain our stories," Hye-jin continued, "but not just human stories. In our libraries, we also keep the last songs of species that no longer exist. We preserve the final words of dying languages. We save the memories of worlds that have been destroyed." The murmurs grew louder. War leader Threnox made a clicking sound that might have been laughter. "Show them the melodic archive," whispered Kyung-soo. The hologram changed again. Now it showed a special section of Earth's greatest library. The signs were written in a flowing script that looked like musical notes. "These are the cultural records of the melodic ones," Hye-jin said. "We know the Zephyrian Empire conquered their world yesterday, but 50 years ago, we found some of their people drifting in space. Their ship was damaged and they were dying." War leader Threnox stopped clicking. His multiple eyes focused on the humans. "We could have let them die," Hye-jin continued. "Instead, we brought them to Earth. We learned their language. We listened to their stories. We recorded their music. When they died of old age, they asked us to remember their species. So we do." The hologram showed humans sitting with tall, graceful beings who had skin like pearls and voices like singing birds. The aliens were teaching human children their traditional songs. "This is impossible," War leader Threnox said, standing up. "The melodic ones resisted our empire for centuries. They would never trust mammals. They trusted us because we didn't want to conquer them," Kyung-soo replied. "We wanted to know them." Dr. So-young stepped forward with another projector. "We also preserve the stories of species that haven't been destroyed yet, but might be someday." New images filled the hall. They showed humans visiting dozens of different worlds, not as conquerors, but as friends. Humans learning alien languages, studying alien art, and carefully recording alien customs. On Earth, we have museums dedicated to extinct animals from our own world, So-young explained. "We build monuments for creatures that died out millions of years ago. We study their bones and try to understand how they lived. We even try to bring some of them back to life using their old genetic codes." The alien audience was completely quiet now. This was not what they expected from humans. We grieve for species we never met, Yijin said. We preserve cultures that are not our own. We remember stories that no one else wants to hear. Other species see this as weakness. We see it as our greatest strength. A new voice spoke from the audience. It was soft and musical, very different from the harsh sounds most aliens made. May I approach the platform? An elderly alien floated down from the highest section of the hall. She looked like she was made of starlight and mist. Her presence made the air itself seem to shimmer. I am Whisper of Falling Stars, she said. I represent the listener caste. Gasps echoed through the hall. Even the most powerful species seemed surprised. The listeners are extinct, said Coordinator Zix-9. They were destroyed in the Second Galactic War. We were thought extinct, Whisper of Falling Stars corrected. But we have been hiding, watching, learning, and we have been especially interested in one species. She turned to face the humans. For 300 years, we have observed your kind. You are the only species in the galaxy that builds monuments to other people's dead. You are the only ones who weep for strangers. War Leader Threnox made an angry buzzing sound. Tears are weakness, grief is failure. No, said Whisper of Falling Stars. Grief is love that has nowhere to go. And love is the force that builds civilizations instead of destroying them. The old alien moved closer to the humans. Your species has a gift that none of these others possess. You can feel the pain of people you've never met. You can mourn for creatures that died before you were born. You can love things that give you nothing in return. She gestured toward the audience. These species measure strength by how much they can destroy. You measure it by how much you can preserve. The hall erupted in angry voices. Many aliens shouted that the listeners were wrong, that power was the only thing that mattered in the galaxy. But Whisper of Falling Stars continued speaking, her voice somehow reaching every corner of the massive room. There is something these proud civilizations do not know. Something they will discover too late. The shouting stopped. Even the most arrogant species wanted to hear what she would say next. The universe is not just matter and energy. It is also memory and story and song. When you destroy a species, you don't just kill their bodies. You kill their dreams, their art, their unique way of seeing existence. You make the universe smaller and darker. She looked directly at War Leader Threnox. The melodic ones had a word in their language, Saranthol. It means the sadness felt by stars when a song ends forever. When you conquered their world, the stars themselves mourned. Threnox's insect face showed confusion. Stars do not mourn. They are balls of gas and fire. Are they? Whisper of Falling Stars asked. Or are they something more? Something you cannot understand because you have never learned to grieve? The alien audience was completely silent now. For the first time in centuries, the great powers of the galaxy were hearing ideas they had never considered. Kyung-Soo saw his chance. Honored council members, we have shown you humanity's greatest achievement. We preserve what others would destroy. We remember what others would forget. We grieve for what others ignore. If you want to judge us weak for this, then judge us weak. Coordinator Zix-9's mechanical voice announced. The council will now vote on humanity's worthiness. The voting took 3 hours. When it was over, the result was clear. 723 species voted against humanity, 89 abstained, and only 35 voted in favor. The species designation human has been judged insufficient for full membership in the Galactic Council, Zix-9 announced. You are granted observer status only, with no voting rights and no territorial claims. The humans stood quietly as the judgment was read. They had known this would probably happen, but it still hurt. As the council session ended, aliens began filing out of the hall. Most ignored the humans completely, but a few stopped to look at them with something that might have been curiosity. War Leader Threnox approached the platform. Your presentation was unusual, he admitted, but the council has spoken. You are weak. Your species will never be important in this galaxy. Kyung-Soo met the alien warrior's gaze. Maybe you're right. but at least we'll be remembered for trying to make the galaxy a kinder place. As the humans prepared to leave Nexus Prime, they didn't know that their presentation had started something that could never be stopped. In the hidden corners of the galaxy, other species had heard Whisper of Falling Stars words, and some of them were beginning to remember what they had forgotten about grief, memory, and love. The stars themselves seemed to be listening. The human delegation packed their belongings in silence. Their quarters in the Grand Assembly Building felt cold and empty now. Ambassador Kyung-soo folded his diplomatic robes carefully, knowing he might never need them again. "At least we tried," said Dr. Hai-jin as she put her cultural archives back in their protective cases. Communications Officer Min-ho burst into the room, his face pale with worry. "Ambassador, you need to hear this. I've been monitoring the Council's private communications since the vote." Kyung-soo looked up. "What did you find?" Min-ho activated his portable scanner. Alien voices filled the room, speaking in languages that sounded harsh and mechanical. "That's Coordinator Zix-9, Min-ho said. "He's talking to War Leader Threenox and the other major powers. They're not waiting for us to leave. They're already planning how to divide up human space." Dr. So-young stopped packing. "What do you mean? Divide up?" "They want to harvest Earth's biosphere," Min-ho translated. "All the plants, animals, and genetic material. They plan to relocate surviving humans to what they call managed reservations on 3 different worlds." The room became very quiet. Captain Daeho sat down heavily in a chair. "Reservations," he said slowly, "like prisons." "That's not the worst part," Min-ho continued. "The Vorthak Empire wants to use our sun as an energy source. They plan to drain it completely within 50 years. Beowulf felt tears in her eyes. 50 years? That would kill everything in our solar system. "They know," Min-ho said. "They don't care." As the humans absorbed this terrible news, someone knocked softly on their door. Kyung-soo opened it carefully. Whisper of Falling Stars floated in the corridor. The ancient alien looked around nervously. "Before speaking, may I enter? What I have to say must not be overheard." Once inside, she activated a small device that made the air shimmer around them. "A privacy field," she explained. "Now we can speak freely." "Thank you for defending us in the council," Kyung-soo said. Whisper of Falling Stars made a sound like wind through crystal chimes. "I did not defend you. I told the truth. But there are other truths you should know." She moved to the center of the room. "The council races think your species is weak and useless. They are wrong about the weak part, but they are also wrong about the useless part." Dr. Hai-jin looked confused. "What do you mean?" "For centuries, my people have studied the patterns of galactic civilization. We have watched species rise and fall. We have seen empires grow powerful and then crumble to dust. And we have discovered something important." The ancient alien paused, as if deciding whether to share a dangerous secret. "Consciousness is not just awareness. It is memory, and memory requires witnesses. When a species dies and no one remembers their stories, something breaks in the fabric of reality itself." "The stars mourn," whispered So-young, remembering the alien's words from the council chamber. "Yes, but it is more than mourning. When cultures die unremembered, the universe becomes less than it was. Art becomes harder to create. Music loses its beauty. Even the most advanced species begin to feel empty." Captain Daeho leaned forward. "Are you saying that preserving culture is actually important to the galaxy?" "I am saying it is essential. Your species has been doing something that no other race understands. You have been serving as memory keepers, grief holders, story preservers. Without you, this galaxy will begin to die spiritually." Beowulf thought about all the human libraries, museums, and cultural archives scattered across Earth and the colonies. "How do you know this?" she asked. "Because it has happened before," Whisper of Falling Stars replied. "In the Andromeda Galaxy, there was once a species like yours. They called themselves the Remembers. When the dominant powers there destroyed the Remembers, thinking them weak and useless, the entire galaxy fell into what they called the Gray Time." Gray Time? A period when no new art was created, when music became discordant, when even the most brilliant minds could no longer innovate or dream. Entire civilizations collapsed not from war or disaster, but from spiritual emptiness. The humans stared at her in shock. The gray time lasted for 10,000 years, she continued. By the time it ended, most of the advanced species in Andromeda were extinct. They had technological power but no reason to use it. They had conquered everything but lost the ability to find meaning in existence. Minho's communication device beeped. More alien transmissions were coming in. The Council is already sending scout fleets toward human space, he reported. The first ships will reach Earth in 18 months. Whisper of falling stars moved toward the door. There is something else you should know. Your species has been more active in the galaxy than you realize? What do you mean? Asked Kyung-Soo. Some of your people have been visiting dying worlds for decades, quietly, secretly. They call themselves the Preservation Project. Dr. So-Young gasped. I've heard rumors about that. Independent human ships exploring beyond our normal space. It is more than exploration. Captain Soo-Jin of the vessel Gentle Harbor has been evacuating endangered species from worlds about to be conquered. Dr. Woo-Seok has been establishing hidden sanctuary worlds where refugee populations can rebuild their cultures. The ancient alien opened the door to leave. Your government may not know about these activities, but your people's instincts led them to do what was necessary. Where are these sanctuary worlds? Dae-Ho asked. That information is dangerous, but if your species survives what is coming, you will find them. The Preservation Project has been leaving messages in places only humans would think to look. After she left, the humans sat in stunned silence. We need to warn Earth, Minho said finally. Warning them won't be enough, replied Dae-Ho. The Council has ships that are faster and more powerful than anything we have. Kyung-Soo stood up and walked to the window. Outside, alien ships moved through space like predators preparing to hunt. Maybe running is the answer, he said quietly. Running? Bae-Wool asked. Not just us. All of humanity. If we can't fight the Council, maybe we can disappear. Find somewhere they can't follow us. Dr. Hai-Jin pulled out her cultural archives. And take these with us. All of our stories, all of our preserved memories of other species. The sanctuary worlds, So-Young said suddenly. If this preservation project has been saving other species, maybe they've also been preparing places where humans can hide. Minho activated his communication equipment. I can send coded messages to Earth, tell them to start evacuation procedures, make it look like routine colony expansion. As the humans began planning their species' escape from Council space, none of them noticed the changes already beginning throughout the galaxy. On distant worlds, alien artists stared at blank canvases, unable to create. Alien musicians found their instruments producing only harsh noise. Alien poets discovered that words had lost their beauty. The great civilizations of the Galactic Council had judged humanity weak and unworthy. But they were about to discover that some forms of strength can only be recognized after they are gone. In the depths of space, ancient stars pulsed with rhythms that seemed almost like sobbing. The universe itself was preparing to weep for what was about to be lost. The humans worked through the night, planning their silent departure from a galaxy that didn't want them. They had no idea that their leaving would change everything. 2 years had passed since humanity left Council space. The evacuation had been quiet and careful. Most alien species didn't even notice that humans were gone until their ships stopped answering radio calls. Emergency Counselor Vex Theron of the Christek Collective stood in the Grand Assembly Hall, but it looked very different now. The crystal walls that once glowed with beautiful colors had turned gray. The ceiling that used to shimmer like stars now looked dull and lifeless. Report on the human situation, Vex Theron demanded. Scout Commander Clax 9 stepped forward. His mechanical voice sounded tired, which was strange for a machine being. We have searched 47 star systems where humans were known to have colonies, all abandoned. No signs of struggle. They simply packed their belongings and left. Where did they go? Unknown. They left no traces, no navigation records. It's as if they vanished completely. Vex Theron felt something he had never experienced before. Humans would have called it frustration, but the Christek Collective had no word for such an emotion. What about their homeworld? Earth is empty too. But Clax 9 paused, which was also strange for his species. The planet has been changed. Changed how? They left behind all their libraries, museums, and cultural centers. Every building is still there, but they're all sealed with force fields we cannot break. And there are messages. Vextharan's crystalline body flickered with dim light. What kind of messages? The same message in every human language, repeated on every building. For future civilizations who remember how to grieve. We cannot understand what it means. Across the galaxy, other species were having similar problems. The Zephyrian Empire had sent war leader Threnox to investigate human space, but he returned with disturbing news. The mammals have taken something with them, Threnox reported to his war council. Something important. What could primitives have that we would want? Asked his second-in-command. Threnox's insect face showed confusion. I do not know, but, since they left, our warriors no longer find joy in battle. Victory tastes like nothing. Our greatest champions ask questions like, why do we fight? And what is the point of conquest? Similar reports came from every major civilization. The Vorthak Empire's star-eating machines still worked perfectly, but their operators no longer felt excited about draining solar systems. The ethereal. Syndicate's memory-wiping technology functioned normally, but they found themselves wondering why they had wanted to erase other people's thoughts in the first place. Most disturbing of all was what happened to their art and culture. Across the galaxy, alien artists found themselves unable to create anything beautiful. Musicians produced only harsh noise. Writers stared at blank pages, unable to find words that had meaning. Dr. Helix Prime, the Council's leading expert on galactic psychology, published a report that shook the foundations of their civilization. We are experiencing what can only be described as narrative collapse, she wrote. Our species can still function, but we have lost the ability to find meaning in our actions. We know how to conquer worlds, but we no longer remember why we wanted to. We can build great machines, but we cannot recall what we hope to accomplish with them. The report included a disturbing discovery. Every region of space where humans had established cultural exchange programs is now experiencing the most severe symptoms. Areas where humans lived and worked are becoming what we must call dead zones of the spirit. Far from council space, in hidden sectors that appeared on no official star charts, humanity had built something unprecedented. Captain Sujin of the vessel, Gentle Harbor walked through the corridors of Haven Station, the secret capital of what humans now called the Confederation of Memory. Status report, she said to Dr. Wu Xiok, who had become the leader of the preservation project. Better than we hoped, he replied. We now have 847 species living peacefully in our sanctuary systems. That's exactly the same number as the Galactic Council, but there's an important difference, which is, these species are working together, not competing. The melodic ones are teaching their songs to the tree speakers. The crystal minds are sharing their mathematics with the soft ones. It's like nothing I've ever seen. Sujin nodded. She had witnessed similar miracles throughout their hidden civilization. Species that had been enemies for millennia were now collaborating on art projects. Races that had never met were creating new forms of music together. There's something else, Wusok continued. The species we've saved aren't just surviving. They're evolving, growing, becoming more than they ever were in council space. How is that possible? I think it's because they have humans around to witness their stories, to grieve for their losses and celebrate their achievements. Consciousness doesn't just need food and shelter. It needs someone to care about its existence. A communication alert interrupted their conversation. Minho's voice came through the speakers. Captain Sujin, we're receiving a transmission from Council Space. It's unusual. Put it through. The voice that filled the room belonged to war leader Threnox, but he sounded nothing like the proud warrior who had mocked humans 2 years earlier. Unknown human vessels. This is Threnox of the Zephyrian Empire. I am transmitting on all frequencies in the hope that some of you can hear me. Sujin and Wusiok looked at each other in surprise. We have made a terrible mistake, Threnox continued. Since your departure, our civilization has been dying. Not from disease or war, but from something worse. We are losing the ability to care about anything. The transmission was joined by other voices. Vextharan of the Christek Collective, Flow State Tertiary, of the Liquid Consortium, representatives from dozens of major species. "We do not understand what you did to us," said Vexitharan, "but without your presence, existence has become meaningless. Our greatest achievements feel hollow. Our proudest moments bring no satisfaction. We are formally requesting," said a voice Sujin didn't recognize, "that humanity return to council space. We are prepared to offer you full membership with equal voting rights." Dr. Wusiak laughed quietly. "They still don't understand. They think this is about politics and membership." The alien voices continued their desperate plea. "We will grant you any territory you desire, any resources you need. Please, just come back." Sujin walked to the communication panel and activated the response system. Her words would reach every major civilization in council space. "This is Captain Sujin of the human vessel Gentle Harbor. We have heard your request." She paused, thinking about all the species that had mocked humanity as weak and primitive. "But we will not return to take our place among you. Instead, we invite you to take your place among us." "What do you mean?" came Threenox's voice. "You measure civilization by how much you can destroy and consume. We measure it by how much we can preserve and protect. You want us to return so you can feel better about your conquests. We want you to learn that there are better things to do than conquer." Sujin looked out at the stars surrounding Haven Station. Each one represented a solar system where refugees from council wars were rebuilding their cultures in peace. "The universe is not something to be conquered," she continued. "It is something to be witnessed. Every species has stories that deserve to be heard. Every culture has beauty that should be preserved. Every civilization has dreams that matter." "But how do we learn these things?" asked Vexitharan. "The same way we learn them, by caring about others more than yourselves, by grieving for strangers, by remembering the dead, by building libraries instead of weapons." Dr. Wusiak stepped up to the communication panel. "Any species that wants to join our confederation is welcome, but you must come as students, not as conquerors. You must learn to measure strength by how much you can love, not by how much you can destroy." The transmission ended, leaving council space in silence. Over the following months, something unprecedented began to happen. Individual ships from council species started appearing at the edge of human sanctuary space. Not invasion fleets, but small vessels carrying aliens who wanted to learn what humans had to teach. The first was a young Zephyrian warrior named Softclaw Reaches. She had abandoned her position in Threenox's army because she could no longer find meaning in battle. "Teach me to grieve," she asked the humans. "I think I have forgotten how." Soon, others followed. Crystal beings who wanted to learn about art, liquid entities who hoped to understand music, machine intelligences seeking to comprehend why humans built monuments to creatures they had never met. 50 years later, the Galactic Council had been replaced by something new, the Confederation of Memory. Decisions were made not based on military power or economic strength, but on each species' contribution to preserving the galaxy's stories and fostering new life. Humanity never claimed to be the leaders of this new civilization. They simply continued doing what they had always done, listening to the stories of others, grieving for the forgotten, and making sure that in an infinite universe, every voice mattered, and in the deepest reaches of space, where new stars were, still being born from cosmic dust and dreams, the universe itself hummed with a different song. Not the harsh music of conquest and domination, but the gentle melody of memory preserved and love shared freely. The stars had stopped weeping. Now, they sang.